Welcome. This is Melinda Barlow, CCT, Certified Zen Tangle Teacher. And today's lesson is two tangles. It's called Fleurette and O-Cee. And you see O-Cee right here at each end and Fleurette in the center. And O-Cee was by Chris Garsner, and Fleurette is by Genevieve Crabb, and both of them are so fun to do. But we're going to do it on a certified Zen Tangle tile, on a square one. So we're going to start out by putting our dots with our pencils in the corner and making our border. And then we're going to get out our pen, and I was asked what size of pen. I always use a Micron 01 by Sakura. That's what I love to draw with. Occasionally, I will draw with an apprentice pen, and it is an 05, but very, very seldom. Sometimes I'll fill in with this, but very seldom. Most always, I'm using a Micron 01 Pigma by Sakura. So we're going to start out with O-Cee or Fleurette. So we're going to start out and we're just going to draw, I'm just going to draw some circles on my paper, on my tile. And these could even be so they overlap, or they can be so they just set separate. I might put one more right here, and if I were to think about it, it would go all the way around. So now I have circles, and obviously you can see they are not round. I purposely think that these don't need to be round, and so I make mine. I just draw them freehand. It's more comfortable for me, and I don't worry about whether they're round or not. And I never use a template to draw them. So now we're going to take and we're going to divide one of these circles into quarters. So you can see I've just done a quarter. And now we're going to draw a line halfway in between this, and this is going to section it into 8. Now both O-Cee and Fleurette these are the steps to either one. Fleurette was done first, and then O-Cee. And I first saw O-Cee. Round off the corners. And when you do that, it looks like you have made a round circle there, but you really just are rounding off and coloring in those corners. Just round them off and color them in. And rotating your tile to a comfortable position is always best, so that you feel like you have the most comfortable position. Even when I do larger pieces, I will rotate my piece and do to the most comfortable position. It's really hard under the camera sometimes if you're doing large pieces, but with this small Zen Tangle tile. So there we have the corners rounded off, and this is the same for O-Cee or for Fleurette. Now with Fleurette, you would just come and you would stroke out from the center. A few little spokes out. Causing that dark center. Now we're going to do O-Cee. O-Cee is done again by quartering off your circle, or in my case it's an oval, and then sectioning it off again so that we have 8 sections. Rounding the corners. And there we have them all rounded off. And now we're also going to do the same in the center. So I'm just going to give that a little rounded look there and color that in. And then Chris did a little aura on the inside. And I just think this is amazing how this changed Fleurette to O-Cee. And there we have O-Cee with a little, just one little line up the center. And there we have Fleurette and O-Cee. And I'm going to go ahead and fill these in, finish these. I'll time lapse it. Then we're going to come back and do a little shading. So stay tuned. And you see I did all the outside corners first because I'm not sure which ones I want to be Fleurette or O-Cee at this point. So I'm just going to do each one of the steps and continually do it throughout the whole piece. For me, that's what gives me the zen in the Zentangle, is the fact that I just repeat that step over and over. Now that I've got those all done, I can decide which ones I want to be Fleurettes or O-Cees. So I'll probably start with the Fleurette because it just has the straight lines out. So I think I'll make this one another Fleurette. And they're just little strokes, and I kind of lift my pen as I come to the end. It's a quick stroke. And I like the build-up of the ink in that center. And that quick stroke kind of fades out at the end. It kind of gives it a lighter little look. I have to look at it again. I kind of rotate it a couple of times to see which one else I want to be Fleurette. And I think I'll do this one. And I can't tell you a reason why. It's just personal preference. And then I'm going to do these down here as O-Cee. So in O-Cee, to get that center dark, I've got to round these corners. So I've rounded all those corners in that center. I'm going to go ahead and round these corners. And I like to just do that rounding all the way around with my pen and then color it in. So I'll show you again. I just do around. To me, it's kind of like it's got a little web look to it, and then color it in. I imagine you could probably leave that and not color it in and get another completely different look. And now we're going to echo. Remember, we're doing the little hollybaw effect, so they go under. got a little rounding right there. Come up and do that. And one more. And again, I did all the steps before I moved on to my next little circle. Now I'm going to give my little line in each one of these. So there we have O-Cee and Fleurette. Now to do a little shading on here, you could use your color pencil to shade in. This could have a little shade just right here at the top of Fleurette, or you could put your color pencils there. I'm just going to put a little graphite right at the top. Then I'm going to take my shading stump and I'm just going to blend it. Now with O-Cee, I like O-Cee to be opposite. I like my shadow to be down here, so I put a little bit of graphite down there, and then I'm going to blend up. Making sure I leave the white space in between. So I'm going to go ahead and shade these. I put a tiny bit of graphite in there. I'm going to clean off my shading stump just because it has quite a bit. And I'm going to start with my florets, and I'm going to shade them. Don't want too much. Just blend that. Remember to lift your pen a little, your shading stump as you go into the lighter areas, and you'll get a little less graphite. I just like the blending. Doesn't look like a pencil. And now, I'm not even going to clean my stump again, but I'm going to have a very light touch on my O-Cees. Very light, not hard at all, so I don't have too much graphite left in those. And in your tiny spaces, it's even more important that you have a light touch. There we have it. Now, for me, it wouldn't be finished if I didn't put just a little bit of flourish in there. So we can just add some little fescues. And other little tangles. Just to give it some organic look. And we can also, because we have a border around here that is pencil, I don't like to use my eraser, but I would take this and I would just blend my border so that it blends out towards the outside or towards the inside. Smudges that down, and you can see how that took that tangle, that little border. If you wanted to fill in more, you could. But I like Fleurette and O-Cee just the way they are. They're wonderful little tangles. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do so, because I do 3 videos a week, and who wants to miss a great video? Also, leave a comment. I always love to read your comments. Try to respond to as many as I can. And if you feel inclined to support this channel, it's always greatly appreciated. And thanks for watching.